Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome to my channel. My name is Peter Masella and typically you find me on an aircraft filming out the window, talking about a flight from an air traffic perspective, what's going on in the National Airspace System, how our flight fits in, the turns we're making, the climbs we're making, all the different aspects of the particular flight from a window seat passenger's point of view. But from time to time, I want to talk about things other than flying on the aircraft itself in real time. As many of you know, I have been a long-term Delta flyer. I've been flying Delta for so long that I'm nearly a million miler. So that's a long time flying Delta Airlines, and that is a lot of miles. Almost every flight that I book is on Delta or one of its partners. Very rarely do I take other airlines. Delta has been very, very consistent in my schedule. Quite often I take the same flights over and over again. They are on Delta. And of course, one reason why you remain loyal to an airline is because of the benefits. And this video is about the future of Delta and my relationship with Delta. I have posted other videos about this before, but Delta has just come out with a few new items to help me decide how I want to continue my relationship with Delta Airlines. It's an interesting situation. I'm not 100% sure what to do. It'd be great if you could leave some feedback in the comment section below, because this is a very, very touchy subject for me because I really, really love flying. And Delta kind of made me feel really, really special throughout the years, even though it wasn't really important to me. The most important thing to me, of course, is getting that window seat, knowing where I am, getting that great view when I'm flying. But because I wound up flying Delta for many, many, many years over and over again, Delta treated me like a king. I have been granted for the last 5 years or so with Delta Diamond Medallion status, the highest level of status that you can achieve on Delta Airlines, which required me to spend a certain amount of money. It required me to fly a certain amount or take a certain amount of segments. And I specifically met those thresholds year after year so I could maintain my Delta Diamond status. The Delta Diamond status has been great. A dedicated phone line, very, very high priority on the upgrade list for first class, and as a choice benefit, access to the Delta Sky Club. And as many of you know, and as I've pointed out in some of my past videos, Delta has made some really, really big changes to their medallion program, making it very difficult to achieve high-level status. And for the year 2024, the current year, I am now a Platinum Medallion. I am no longer a diamond because the threshold for spending was so high that I wasn't able to spend that much money. Now, I'm just going to say this directly. What my confusion level is, I shouldn't say confusion, but what my issue is that I am able to spend more money on Delta Airlines, but because the threshold is so high, I'm no longer encouraged to really put that much money in because it's not reachable. Now, this is 100% my personal situation. Everyone's got a different story. I'm sure Delta Airlines really has a good business plan in what they're doing in terms of the medallion program and why they're increasing these numbers. But for me, my thought is if Delta were to lower their spending thresholds, I would fly more to try to fly to get to that level, and I would spend more money. The way things are going right now, I'm spending less money with Delta Airlines, even though I could potentially spend more. You see, the threshold for Diamond Medallion was increased to $20,000 for 2024. Now, the previous threshold for Diamond Medallion spending was $15,000. I never spent $15,000 on flights. By the way, most of my flights are personal flights. I'm spending money out of my own pocket. I really don't spend $15,000. I spend a little bit less. I spend around $12,000 or so on flights per year. But because I want to get to the Diamond Medallion level, year after year, I would fly more, I would spend more so I can get to the $15,000 mark. So that is a few thousand extra dollars that Delta got out of me because it wasn't that far out of reach. But now that flights are more out of reach for me, $20,000, and if I'm spending around $12,000 a year on flights, I am actually going to be trying to save money and spend less because I don't know if I can actually get to the higher levels of status because it is too high for me to spend. Again, personal situation, other people, it's not a problem at all. Companies are paying for it. They fly more, they buy more expensive tickets. I'm just talking about my situation. So what I don't get from Delta, for me at least, is why don't you want my money? I've been spending all this money each year, and now I'm just not driven to spend more, and I'm looking to spend less. I'm not necessarily going to purchase a higher fare class, and it's the end of the mileage run. I'm not going to be taking mileage runs anymore at the end of the year just to get my spending up. Well, Delta has put me into an interesting situation, and honestly, I'm not 100% sure what to do because of what they just recently put out. So we all knew this was coming. Delta said they would make an announcement in February about the ability for you as a Medallion member, or me, to extend your status. And I'm reading off of my phone here because this is exactly what Delta sent me. It says here, congratulations, you're eligible to extend your 2024 Medallion status you've earned through flight and spending activity during the 2023 calendar year. You can extend your 2024 status 1 year per 100,000 rollover MQMs. So Delta is getting rid of MQMs, Medallion Qualification Miles, and they're allowing me to use every 100,000 miles to extend my current status, 2024, which is Platinum, by 1 year at a time. So I have enough Medallion Qualification Miles to extend my status as a Platinum for 2 years. That's through January 31st of 2027. Everything goes to January of the year after that. So I can technically be a Platinum Medallion for the next 2 years and not really have to worry about spending any more money. So that's an interesting idea right there. So I'm no longer driven to become a Diamond Medallion. It's not possible. Even becoming a Platinum Medallion is going to be very difficult because of the high spending thresholds that have been put out there. So if you're giving me Delta Platinum status for 2 years, I basically don't have to spend anything at all, and I'll remain a Platinum on Delta Airlines. That's a very interesting concept. After 2 years, well, what's going to happen? Well, like I mentioned, I am very close to becoming a million miler on Delta Airlines. I only need to fly around 50,000 or so miles to get to this point. Once you reach million miler status on Delta Airlines, you're gifted gold status for the rest of your life. It used to be silver, but they increased it to gold. And gold is kind of like a level that I thought was probably the most attainable for me throughout the next coming years with Delta with these new spending thresholds. So if I'm given Platinum status for 2 years, I fly 50,000 miles over 2 years, which is really not a lot of flying at all for me. Then I'm given gold status because I hit the million miler mark. I don't have to really spend any more money on Delta in the future. Now, I'm not complaining. It is a fantastic reward. I really appreciate that from Delta. But all of the money, the consistent $15,000 that I would spend year after year after year is no longer going to happen. Delta is going to get less and less money from me as time goes by. Yeah, it is a good benefit to have gold medallion status, but I'm not going to be seeking out those extra flights. I'm really not going to be seeking out flights that I don't need to take. It's an interesting scenario. So I have these different options available to me about extending my status. I could do absolutely nothing, or I could extend my status 1 year, or I can extend my status 2 years. This is my Platinum status. What do you think I should do? Should I extend it for 1 year or should I extend it for 2 years? If I extend it for 1 year, then the year after that, well, what would I actually be? Probably nothing too high. It's definitely not Diamond and probably not Platinum. Now, if I go into the Delta app and I actually do select different scenarios, if I select a 1 year status extension, it then gives me some rollover MQMs and different things I can do with those rollover MQMs. If I extend my Platinum status for 1 year, I am left with 162,000 rollover MQMs. And that would give me around 16,000 MQDs to be put into my account. So if I already have Platinum status, if I put more MQDs into my account, will I get to the point where I would actually be a Delta Diamond? I don't think I actually would. I don't think it's actually going to happen. Or it would give me around 81,000 miles. And of course, miles is something that I can use to pay for flights or pay for other people's flights also. If I extend my status of platinum for 2 years, that leaves me with 62,000 rollover MQMs, and I would have around 6,200 MQDs, which is really not a lot to get to diamond status. And remember, I'd already be platinum. Or I'd have around 31,000 miles, which could be useful. And then there's combinations for both options in between, a combination of MQDs and miles. If I select absolutely nothing, if I do not extend my status, this is the very interesting one. If I select do not wish to extend my status, I still have all these MQMs left over, and it gives me an option. The first option is that I would have around 26,000 MQDs. They would put 26,000 MQDs into my SkyMiles account. Well, to get to diamond status, you need 28,000 MQDs, and I already have a few thousand MQDs in my account, which means that next year, if I select this option without any rollover of status, I could be diamond. Actually, for this year, I could be diamond for the current year. What should I do? Should I actually accept this conversion and accept the 26,000 MQDs and then switch automatically right now from platinum to diamond? The problem with that is that at the end of the year, I will no longer be diamond. Or should I extend my status of being a platinum by 2 years, and then afterwards, I would probably become a gold because of my million miler status. Very, very interesting scenario. I was not expecting this to happen with Delta Airlines. I did not think I would actually have an opportunity to be a Delta Diamond again. Remember that if I'm a Delta Diamond, I will get access to the Delta Sky Club via a choice benefit, which is a benefit that I use very, very often. I've actually always had an executive membership where I can bring 2 guests with me into the Sky Club. And even though I don't show it in my videos, quite often I bring 2 guests with me into the Sky Club. That is a very, very appealing thing. You know, I took my very first flight as a platinum medallion out of LaGuardia Airport recently. And as I went through TSA, I automatically turned to the left because that's where the Sky Club is. And I just realized at the last moment, I can't get into the Sky Club anymore. So I kind of scurried around the airport for food. What can I get to eat at the airport? I'm not even familiar with the options at the airport because the Sky Club has been providing me with food for all of these years. So should I accept diamond status for 1 year and then the year after that, I have no idea what I'm going to be. And then probably after 2 years, I would be a gold medallion with my million miler status. What should I do? It's an interesting decision. In any case, what I don't get from Delta is that they still don't want my money after all of this. If they were to just keep the spending thresholds the way they were, I would strive to spend more money. I would strive to put more money into Delta Airlines. Again, I'm very appreciative of the fact that I can be a gold medallion for life. It's a really, really nice gesture because before it was just a silver medallion to become a million miler. Now it's gold. But I have no incentive at that point to put a lot of money into Delta Airlines. Will I fly Delta Airlines in the future? Yes. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I just took a recent flight as a platinum medallion, and I did do some research into other airlines. And it turned out that Delta Airlines had the better price. Because at this point, I'm looking at better price. On the other airlines that I wanted to fly, because I don't have any status or because it may be a budget carrier with mix and match pricing, I would have paid a higher base fare and I would actually have to pay more money for my bags. And because my trips sometimes can be longer, I always check a bag. And on Delta, many people who have medallion status, even at a lower level, do not pay for bags. If you've got no status at all, then you will have to pay for your bags, but even silver medallions will get free bags. And I actually get a higher level of baggage at a higher weight, which I do take advantage of because of my higher Elite Plus status within the Delta Medallion Network. So yes, I still will probably be flying Delta. I did some research for future flights and Delta was the least expensive airline, but that's how I'm thinking right now. what is the cheapest carrier to fly? And a lot of people always ask me for advice on what airline should I fly. Well, if you fly a lot, you may want to consider focusing your loyalty to one particular airline, but nowadays, less so because the benefits are very, very difficult to come by. What I tell most people, if you're an occasional flyer, fly whatever's cheapest, because flying basically will always get you to where you need to be. And of course, my focus is always about the aviation experience more than anything else. But like I said, from time to time, I like to have conversations with my audience about this because I don't talk about it very, very often. And as you noticed with all of my YouTube videos, I'm basically almost always on a Delta Airlines aircraft. All right, so let me know what you think I should do in the comments section below. This was a really, really interesting conversation. I'm glad I was able to share my personal situation with you. Of course, there are thousands, maybe millions of people that are in the same exact situation as me. They don't know what to do. They may be in certain situations where they can extend their diamond status for 7 years because they just have a lot of rollover. Everyone's different. That's my own situation. If you like this video, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Hit the bell button, hit the like button. I'll be back in the future with videos like this, as well as videos where I'm doing what I love to do the most. Fly as a passenger. Thanks, everybody. See you all very soon.